Harshith, and today I'll be talking about my project on multimodal glucose forecasting with physics-informed neural networks in type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is a lifelong autoimmune condition that affects over 8 million people worldwide, and 85% of these cases are diagnosed in early childhood or in adolescence. It's difficult to manage because blood glucose levels are dependent on highly variable factors like meals, exercise, and stress. And if not managed correctly, this can result in serious health complications like hypoglycemia, diabetic ketoacidosis, and long-term organ damage. Artificial pancreas systems, they aim to automate insulin delivery to combat control glycemic changes. However, they do not pick up on the underlying physiology behind the patients as they rely solely on the glucose data. Additionally, they fix the parameters at the setup point at the very start, and they're tuned heuristically on a population level rather than being specific to each patient. They're not personalized. My project aims to address this by embedding physiological equations into neural networks, forming the PIN framework, and I then go on to train and test this on synthetic and real patient datasets. My physiological backbone was the Magdalene model, which describes glucose, insulin, and digestion dynamics with ordinary differential equations and clinically interpretable parameters such as insulin sensitivity, shown there in purple, KSI, and the PIN embeds this model using the neural network in the integrated loss function there. And this does this by penalizing the violations of the equations themselves, whilst also penalizing any data errors and enforces realistic initial conditions. For benchmarking, I generated synthetic data by solving the Magdalene equations using an Euler scheme for 10 virtual patients. And this gave me the ground truth for glucose and the other hidden states, marked here as I and D. This setup works in a forward mode where it forecasts glucose trajectories, and an inverse mode where it predicts or estimates the inverse parameters, such as that one. On real patients, the recurrent model that I tested on had the lowest RMSE of 0.02, which is approximately 80 times better than the other two models I tested, which was the feed-forward PIN. That was the one that treated each time point independently. I also had a modified MLP, which used a gating mechanism to blend fast and slow, and then obviously the BiRNN, which is a recurrent model. For the inverse model, the feed-forward PIN performed the best with a relative error of 6.66%, and it had the lowest standard deviation of 21.62%. On the other hand, the BiRNN, it performed generally not much better than a random initialization, indicating that it learned alternative patterns besides the underlying physiology to produce such accurate glucose forecasts. And ultimately, these findings highlight a trade-off between accuracy and clinical interpretability. This distinction matters because the forecasts alone are not enough. We also need identifiable parameters in order to inform therapy for the patients. Moving forward, we'd also like to look at optimizing insulin delivery, and by doing this, we want to maximize the time that patients spend in a healthy glycemic range. And in addition to that, we want to extend to inverse parameters beyond just insulin sensitivity, and we want to validate across a larger and more diverse patient cohort too. Thank you for listening.